This is a continuation from the previous video where we left out when we were installing npm SWR. So now that we've got SWR installed inside our code, this will help us proceed with the work. Now let's rerun the project npm run dev. Okay, let's import use WSR from SWR. Now go inside your libs folder and let's create a new file called fetch fetcher.ts. Make sure that's a .ts. So now I got inside your libs. After doing that, I'm going to split this terminal and then let's kill the first terminal. Okay, you are now inside your new terminal. So I'm going to change terminal. Let's say npm install Axios. Okay, yes, I've installed Axios now. Okay, let's say cd Twitter to change the directory from Twitter. Then let's run npm install Axios. You can see that from the previous installation I installed it inside the wrong folder, so I've changed it to Twitter folder. Then I'm going to install this again. Okay, now I've fully installed Axios inside our correct folder Twitter. So I'm going to run npm run dev to restart everything after these installations. Okay, now I've successfully run. So I'm going to go inside our folder feature.ts. So I'm importing access from access. Then let's have const fetch. Feature is equals to URL string, which is directed to access.get URL. Then response is equals to response.data. So let's export default feature just like so. Then let's come inside our use current user TSS file. That's where I'm going to put in some more importations. Import feature from //feature. Then let's const use current user is equals to, this is a function inside, is equals to const data and error and mutate is loading is equals to use SWR from IP.current. Then let's save a feature. Then let's return data error and is loading and mutate. So this, I'm just returning everything that I've declared using the const above there. Export default use current user. Yes, that's the procedure that you don't forget as we end your function. So you can see that I've now collected the data error and is loading mutate. Then let's save these changes. Make sure that you have saved your code and close this folder for now, and also close this feature ts file. Now come inside the works for, okay, let me minimize these ones, and let's also minimize so that my workflow looks better. Let's delete this node modules folder because remember I installed it inside the wrong folder, YouTube, so I'm going to have to remove it. As I was installing access, I installed it in the wrong folder, so it has to be removed so that I don't get anything that is outside the Twitter folder. It's only one single folder. Also delete this one. Then let's also delete that one as well. Yeah, we move it to the recycle bin. Now you can see that I'm left with the Twitter folder only. That's our working directory. That's only what we need. Now I've got the components folder inside that one I've got the layout. And the model folder, let's come to the register model.tsx file. This is the folder where we register new users. So now below the on submit use callback, let's set try await access /IP/register. Then I'm setting this await access post to retain the email, password, username, and name. So this is what is collected on submit. When you click submit, let's add a dependence. We only have register model, so I'm going to add another additional dependencies: email, password, register model, username, and name. Just like as I have declared them on line 14 there, so we got register model there. You can remove it since we don't want a duplicate. Now let's add an additional import on the first line. Let's import access from access, so that on line 36 I'll say await access removes this error. We of course now have imported access. Now I'm going to split my terminal. Let me delete the first one. Let's change the folder correctly to cd Twitter. Then inside this folder cd, I'm going to run npm install react dash what dash toast. I've installed the install react toast I've said. So I'm going to be using this react what dash what source inside our application. So now coming to starting for the app tsx. So this is where I'm going to put in some extra imports. I'm going to import toaster and the semi provider from NextAuth /react. Then let me cut temporarily this one, and let's come and put them right at the start or at the top of the page where we have imported toaster and service session provider. And also import app props from next app. Yeah, remove it from line 7 and put it right at the top of the page. This is how we write our code in order. So now I'm going to go inside my routine. Let's remove the initial one, closing and blank, opening and closing brackets there, like I've done. Then create a space between session and register model, and just make sure that you align your code perfectly so that it looks readable and very smart. I'm going to add a toaster closing and a toaster component online 14. Now let's come back into our register model.tsx file. Just online 43, just below the register model close. I'm going to add toast.success is equals to account created. This will make sure that our account is created on register model. Now let's import toast from react dash what dash toast. Okay, I'm going to make some additional changes on line 48. I'm going to add toast.error, something went wrong. Unless this is a try and catch. If an error happens, then you're going to get an unsuccessful message display. So now I'm going to import sign in from NextAuth. Then since we have imported NextAuth, then I'm going to come inside here on line 49 and say sign in credentials. It's because the email password. So now after doing this one, you're surely complete with your authentication. Now let's come back inside our terminal and let's change the directory to cd Twitter. Then let's save our running again the server npm run dev. Then we are going to test how the new user, if the new user details are successfully saved and the new user is successfully created. Okay, now I'm on my development server Google Chrome. So I'm going to like I've done before, I'm rerunning this server again. Make sure that you have saved all your changes. Let's come into our server. We are using Mongo Atlas for this project, like I've shown you in previous video. So now I'm going inside my Mongo Atlas project. I believe that you've done the same as I've done, where you have created your account on Mongo. So this is how your development server should look like after you've made those installation and the additional changes. So now click on sign in, then let's create a new user. So I'm just going to be testing. So let's save our username. Our email is Ivan Twitter 2024 at gmail.com. Then username, the name, my name, I'm just going to use Ivan Mesa. Then let's say for our username, we are going to just use imesa. Then let's set our password. Okay, I'm getting some errors there. That means something went wrong. Okay, let me come in. If you check, let me come inside my Mongo Atlas. Then I'm adding my current IP address there. So you can now see that Mongo is successfully added my current IP address, where they're saying we are deploying your changes to the current action configuring Mongo. So if I've added my IP address, let me come back to my development server and let's attempt again. Okay, let's create a new user, create a new X account. And if I come back here, you can see that they saying there are no errors there. So let me do Twitter clone at gmail.com. These are just dummy details. Then let's save my name. Ivan. Then let's save password, dummy password there. Then let's sign in. Okay, I've signed in. If I get a green icon, yes, the green message account created, you can see that my details have been successfully changed and there are no errors inside the inspect there you can see. So now the account is successfully created. So make sure that you have added your current IP address. If you don't have a default IP address, just to make sure that you don't have any errors there. That's why I diagnosed this and debug this error of why. Okay, just make sure that your IP address is added. Now if I click on inside the Mongo Atlas on the Twitter folder, I'm just going to make sure that we want to check. After clicking on Twitter, let's come to browse collections. Then we're on comments, so I need to go on users just at the bottom there. User at the bottom of the page, at the bottom of the list there. Then let's see if it's loading documents there, and let's see, or they can see we have got our account, the latest account that we created, Twitter clone at gmail.com. It's been successfully created, and you can see that even the time dates are perfectly within our date. So now we now have got a new user who has been created there. So we now know that we have got our register model is working correctly. You can now close all these files. So just make sure that you got your IP address added to the project. This will help you to solve any errors that are happening when you try to register a new user. So now let me go on to the sidebar, the TSX. So then I'm going to add const data use current user is supposed to use current user. Obviously, I'm getting an error from use current user, so I'm going to have to add some importations. Let's import use current user from @hooks / use current user. This will surely have to remove our runtime error. There you can see our runtime error has been now removed. So we now have got const data use current user from. So on reloading this web page, we are supposed to get. So now let's use current user and inside brackets so if I drag this one backwards, this is what is going to go inside our sidebar component is going to go inside our so you can now see that every time when I'm successfully logged and I've got the current user, I'm supposed to have a label for logout, so that this label will only appear if the user is created or signed in. So now I'm saying, so the sidebar changes automatically to show the label logout every time when you are in the we have successfully logged into the new current user. Then I'm also going to have a sign out icon. Sign out. So I'm going to have sign out from React. Then so sidebar on click. Let's have sidebar item. So we are working on making sure that we have got the logout functionality installed every time when the user when you're inside a new user account. So now under the sidebar item.tsx file, okay, let me have for the div, I'm going to head and on click, handle click. As you can see, the handle click is working on an error there. So now that means that we have to put in some declarations. So I'm going to say const use router and const handle click is equals to use callback. If on click is equals to return on click, return dot push router on click. Then let's import use router to make sure that we've got we and then also we need to add callback. As you can see, I'm still getting some errors on use callback. So let's import React use callback from React. Yes, this will remove some runtime errors on use callback. Now I'm going to say router.push if router.push ref. Okay, let's add some dependence. It's an array router. Now I've got router click on click and href. They've been declared as some independence. So now that is how you said. So you can see that I've got a if and for the on click event handle click. So now I'm going to set out if I do this and I come in and put in some dummy details. Let's say me 2024 me 2020 at gmail.com. Let's have name for this one. I'm just going to say Ivan. Then let's have username Mesa. Okay, now I'm going to add an additional dummy password, which is going to be that one. Let's put in some sign up. Okay, something went wrong. That means I have to make sure that my IP address is added successfully. Let's come in inside again. Make sure that your IP address is added. Okay, me 2024. Let's set Ivan. Then let's have Mesa username. Then let's put in some dummy details. The dummy password. Okay, this won't go because the email address is wrong. But you can see that we have got a logout functionality that was created. Let me log out the first. Okay, we are logged out. Like as you can see now, there's no logout. So you can see that on the home page we have got 3 icons there on. So if I do create again, then let me come and let's say we test 2024 at gmail.com. Then let's have some dummy username and name. Then let's set a password there. Then let's create sign up. Something went wrong. Okay, let's account created. Now we've got our account created. So this, I just diagnosed this by making sure that I've got my IP address added inside the Google Chrome. Now you can see that on clicking on logging into your new account, you can see that you now have got an additional logout option that has been just been activated. So this is what I was doing inside our sidebar item previously, or just a few moments ago on this video. I was showing you how to make sure that you've got your logout, and on clicking, if I log out, the logout disappears. So you can now see that on the sidebar item, now I've got my logout, which appears once I logged in successfully, and when I log out, it goes. So this is how we've created a beautiful sidebar item. Now I'm just minimizing this folder so that it look okay. Come into your hooks. Okay, we are inside our login model.tsx file. I'm going to put in some extra importation. I'm going to import sign in from NextAuth /React. Using our new sign in, I'm going to say try is loading, set is loading, await, sign in, credentials, email, password, and so these ones are being awaited for as credentials, email, and password. Then let's add in some additional dependencies where you say password login model. Now if I copy this to, let me edit them on our dependents array. So we've got edit our dependents array, email, password, and login model. Now if I come back again here and I'll set like the one we previously created, me@gmail.com. Then let's save my password. Okay, before I log in successfully, I need to make some changes inside our sidebar item. Let's on click, let's save auth boolean. It's optional and it's boolean. And also we are going to extract this prop and add it onto our list on line 16. Auth prop is optional, is boolean. So now we have added auth on our props there. So I'm going to say const data use current data. To const data current user is equals to use current user. So since use current user is recording an error, that means we need to import it. We're going to say import use current user from /hooks/use current user. Now I'm going to use const login is equals to use login model. You can see that runtime error there. That means an additional importation has to be done. Import use login model from /hooks /use login model. This will remove our runtime error. Now I'm going to say if auth ent is not current user, login model dot open, else if href is equals to router dot push ref, So just add on your dependencies, add on top of these first three router, on click and edge, let's add auth and login model and current user. So these are just additional dependencies that I'm adding because I have declared them inside my costs there, like as I was doing on our sidebar. Now I'm going to check on my sidebar sidebar.tsx file. Let's add auth and we set it to true. Then on file user we set auth to true. Then I'm going to say now on line 4050 auth is equals to auth.true on our sidebar item. So if I make sure that if you set these changes to your sidebar.tsx file, you can come back and rerun the web page again. So now I can now say, let me create a new user. This one I'm going to call it me2024@gmail.com. Now let me also add my username, my name and username, and also a dummy password. And let's sign up. Okay, I'm getting an error. I think this one has to do with the length of our username and password. Just make sure that you increase your username and password and make sure that it's long enough, because I had used like 6 characters then. So now I'm going to make them 9 characters on my password. Okay, there you can see now the account has been created there successfully. So my sidebar item is going to change as expected. Now you can see we now have got the logout button on the sidebar items. Then on click on logging out, you can see the logout is no longer there. Now I'm going to, on clicking notifications, I'm directed to the login model. So if I do these ones, so you can now see that I'm logging in. Every time when I click the notifications bar, if I'm logged out, the login model appears. Every time when I click on the home icon, if I'm logged out, the login model appears. So now I've successfully logged in. My details are supposed to log in. You can now see I'm now inside my home page. And then obviously the option to log out now is now been added because I've successfully logged in. So this is how our new user, our sidebar item has been added to with some functionality there. Now I'm going to go inside the IP folder and let's create a new folder called users. Then inside the users, let's create a file called index.ts. You just pull down your terminal page there, then let's change that to create more space. So now I'm going to go inside my index.ts. I'm going to import NextAuth request and next API response. Then let's import Prisma from eclipse/Prisma DB. Then also let's export default asynchronous function. handler. Next, with these two response, next API response, next API request. Then let's set if request.method is not equal to get, return response.status 405.end. A try and catch error will be used. A try and catch error. If this fails, console.log error, return response.status 400 end. If there's an error, then otherwise, if there's not an error, let's say const users equals to await prisma.user.find many, order by created at descendant order. Then let's return response 200.json users. Then let's create another new file called inside the same folder code with opening brackets, square brackets. Let's say user ID. You make sure that you get ID in small letters .ts. Then so inside our user ID.ts file, I'm going to import next API request and next API response from React or next something. Then let's import Prisma from adlibs Prisma.db. Then let's export default asynchronous function handler register request equals next API request and response equals next API response, just like as we were doing before. Then let's add if request dot method is not equal to get, return response dot status 405 dot end, try catch error is equals to console.log error, return response.500. So this one is for the catch error. Then let's start off with our try as obvious. Let's try const user ID is equals to request.query. If not user ID, pipe type of user ID is not equal to string, throw new error invalid ID. Const existing user is equals to await prisma dot user dot find unique, where ID is equals to username user ID. Then let's say const followers counters is equals to await prisma dot user dot count, where followers ID is a user ID, return response dot status 200 dot json dot existing user for comma followers count. And let's save our changes that we've done to the user ID and user TSX file. Then if I come into my hooks folder, let's add in some new file where you're going to use users.tsx. So we have added a user.tsx file. Okay, inside I'm going to use current user, copy everything there by highlighting, then come inside your users. We're going to paste this everything that you've done. So obviously I'm going to change the const from current user to just current users, use users, so that because the file name is different. Then let's export default use users. Also, let's change the API to API users address, the URL. Now let's come inside your hooks folder again. Let's create an additional file called user.tsx. So you can now see that I've got these two different files, use users and use user. Just copy everything and just paste everything inside again. Then let's change the name. We are using const use user and export default user. Then inside this bracket, I'm going to pass this props use ID equals to string, user ID is equals to string. Then let's change. Okay, I'm going to just spacing so that my code looks perfectly okay and readable. Okay, let's use WR. I'm going to erase everything that is inside there. Then I'm going to say user ID is optional to IP address users is equals to now feature. Then let's save these changes. So I've got these two files, use user and use users. Now let's go inside our components folder and we are going to add a new called avatar.tsx. So I'm going to import divs, divim, then let's create an interface of avatars, then props user ID is large, is border is optional to boolean, then let's export default avatar, then select const avatar is equals to react, import these props that we declared above, the user ID is large, is border, and then let's create a new empty div inside the return. Okay, I'm just going to delete the first line. Then let's, okay, so I've created a file called avatar.ts. Then let's come inside our follow bar. Here, see that on the follow bar, I had listings, so I'm going to remove these listings. And then let's import avatar and let's import users from. Then let's do a declaration const data users is equal to use users. If use users dot length is identical to 0, return now. Okay, come inside your div and let's create user map, and then let's direct these ones to inside our HTML coding. I'm creating a div with some two opening closing divs. This is to our right side bar. Let's say div key equals to user ID, class name is equals to flex row gap 4, avatar user ID is equals to user ID, then div class name flexi column. Then let's have a paragraph there with the class name text wide, font semi-bold, text small, and with user. Then let's have paragraph text neutral, 400, text small, user at username. So if I come back and reload my web page, okay, I still got some errors. Return statement is not allowed here. Okay, these are some errors which I need to fix. Okay, and I also have got an error on avatar. So I need to fix these ones, these two errors, before I proceed. Okay, let's rename our file from avatar to avatar.tsx. This is where, yeah, you can now see that the error has just disappeared after renaming this file. You can see that the error is now gone the way I was highlighting these tips. So make sure that you have. Then let's come inside our follow bar.tsx. Okay, there must be an error somewhere. Okay, copy from line 4. Just cut this. I come in and place it on line 6. So we have got our const declared inside our const follow bar. Oh, they can see now the errors have been successfully removed. So that was how I diagnosed this. You see that even me as a developer, I also encounter some challenges, but you have to be a hardworking and dedicated developer to solve these errors. So now you can now see that my web server, now you can see that, oh, that was this what I was doing. I was working on the right side bar. So you can now see that on the right side bar component, they have now got the users list, a that I created on the suggested X following. So by putting in some additional editing to our avatar and follow bar, you can now see that I've got on my right side, I've got a well built component which displays suggested followers. Now I'm going to go inside our avatar. Let's say import users. Then let's come inside our const. Then from const, I'm going to say data fetch user is equals to use user ID. Then let's import callback from React. Const on click is equals to use callback event any. Event.stop propagation. Then let's have const URL is equals to users / user ID. Then let's have router. Let's edit our dependencies in user ID. Then let's import use router from next router. Then const use router is equals to use router. Then let's add a router.push. So you can now see that I've got these users listings that is there. Then inside our div, I'm going to give it some styling, which I'm going to set is border is optional to border. For border click is large is optional to H32 and H12. Is large is optional to width 32 and width 12. Rounded full. Over opacity 90. Transition. Cursor pointer relative. Then let's add an image component with fill style, object fit cover. Yes, you can see that I'm killing some errors on the image component. Then let's set border radius 100%. Then let's have an out text that will appear of avatar. Then on click is equals to on click. Then source fetched user is optional to profile image pipe images. Then let's import image from for next / image. So you can now see that I've imported the image file. Then let off with a dummy image from images folder for code placeholder.png. Then so I have to create a folder for where I'm going to get my images called images. So this is where I'm going to paste in my dummy image called placeholder.png. This one, there you can see the image that is there. So this image that's going to be displayed on our profile users. Okay, so now let me reload. Yeah, this is my current state of my web page. If I reload the web page, on reloading the web page on our localhost 3000, okay, I'm reloading the web page. Let me look at for my profile images. Okay, there they are. So you can now see that the profile image is now loading up correctly. Our placeholder.png file. So that's our default image that we're going to be using. Now, if I go back into my file, let's save all the changes. Then let's close this aveda.tsx, then close this follow bar.tsx. Then come inside the pages folder and let's create a new folder called users. Then inside the users folder, we're going to create a new file called open brackets, square brackets, then just come and say user ID, then outside then tsx, like this what I've done there. Then come inside your split this terminal. We're going to split this terminal, and then I'm going to kill off the first terminal, and then let me wait for it to restart the terminal. Okay, now I'm going to say cd Twitter to make sure that I'm in the right directory. Then after Twitter, let's run npm run dev again. Okay, I'm going to say npm install. I'm going to put an additional installation. Then I'm going to say react dash spiner. Then we're going to install this React spiners. Okay, I finished installing my React spiners. So React spiners. So I'm going to say npm run dev to restart our web page. I'm going to click on the follow link on the new localhost. So now I'm running. Okay, now I'm going to say RAFCE, the shorthand for creating a function. Then okay, obviously with our function, that one which I've created inside our folder user.tsx. Then let's just change the constant to constant user view. I'm just changing the declaration there from user ID to constant user view. Then I'm going to put in some new constants. I'm going to declare const router is equals to use router. Then I'm going to say const inside bracket user ID is equals to router dot query. So now I'm going to say const data is the fetch user is loading is equals to use user ID is string. If we're going to run it, if loading pipe fetch user return div an empty div. So this is the div that I want if it is loading. So now if I come inside, let me check. Let's style this div with the div class name flex justify center items to the center h full. Then let's add a clip loader with the color of light blue, the of size 80. So now, okay, sorry, yeah, like this. I did some. Okay, so now this is where we are with our code. So you can now see that I'm getting some errors on use router and use user. So that means that I will have to add some extra importation now, and also the clip loader component is not imported. So these are the errors, 3 errors that I have. So I have to add in some importations. So I've imported use router from next router, clip loader from React spiners, and use user from hooks, use user. So as you can see, that's how we made use of our installation of React spiners. So now I'm coming back to my web page, that the one that I've successfully reloaded recently. Let's just put a simple reloading. Now inside, we are now going to remove some this div and just make it some empty brackets, closing, and let's add a header shadow backer with fetch user ID is optional to a name. So you can see I've added a header there, but I'm still getting some errors which need to be resolved. Let's put in a div correctly, just like as we were at the initial state. At the top, okay, at the top there, okay, if I still retain, I'm still getting an error of fetch user ID. So I'm just going to say label is equals to X page. Okay, if I say label is equals to X profile, and let me put in a closing bracket there. Yeah, like that one, a closing backward slash. So you can now see that I've created a header with the X profile, with a label with X profile there at the top. So now if I come back to the page, I'm still getting some errors. Okay, expression expected. So let's come back to our header.tsx file. Okay, header is not defined. Yeah, that's the latest error. That's the latest error. Header component is not defined. So I need to fix this one error that I've got here. Okay, let's come inside our user ID. Let's put in some additional import. Let's import header from add components header. Now they can see the error is now gone because I've successfully imported the header component. If I reload on reloading this web page, we are going to get something that is different because the error is supposed to go away. So you can now see that this loading is happening, and every time when I X profile, you can now see that there's a circular motion of is loading, and then X profile right at the top, the label for X profile. So this is how I made use of our user id.tsx file. Okay. But you can see now that temporarily now I'm logged out. I'm inside the I'm logged out. I'm not inside any profile there. So you can see that the logout on the is not appearing. You're just having some people who are being suggested to follow. So if I click on Ivy, then you can see the text completely changed from X page to profile. Then if I click on Ivy method, the second one, okay, exactly. The web page is loading, is set up, and then you are displayed with a header with X profile. So this is what I was doing in my previous user ID TSX file to make sure that there is a loading that happens and a label for X profile is displayed. So now I'm going to change to X profile to fetch user is equals to dot name. So this one is going to collect our username in the details, so that not I will not get an X profile web page. So if they can see automatically. Now you can see that my name is now replaced X profile. If I click back, I'm supposed to get an X page. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, you can see that the title changes name. So you can now see that the fetch user dot name is now being used to make sure that we don't have X profile there. So you can now see that every time when I click on the suggested follow, I'm displayed with username. As you can see, also the URL changes automatically. The URL right at the top there, local host, it changes respondingly to the user details, to the user that we are trying to view. So that's how we use the fetch user ID. So now I'm going to add a user hero user ID is equals to user ID a string. Okay, so are we using a user hero component? So now I'm going to have to fetch to import this component because it's not appearing correctly. So I'm going to add a new folder called users. Then let's copy this user name, this component name, and that's one that we're going to use inside the folder users. I'm going to have use user hero.tsx. So let's run a RAFFCE is shortened for running this function. So now I've got a function. Let me just delete line number 1, which is not necessary. So I've got a constant user hero. Now I'm importing user hero from it components use user hero. So now if we come back, I'm going to, inside the user, I'm going to import a quickly interface user pops. Then this is I'm going to use user ID is equals to a string. Then let's import the structure using react.rfc user hero props. Then let's extract the props user ID. So now I've used inside the user id.tsx. I'm going to import an image from next import, then import user from it hooks use user. Then I'm going to import avatar from dash avatar. Then let's click const data fetch user is equals to user ID. So these are, then let's create a div with class name. We'll style this div. Okay, big neutral 700 h44 relative. Then let's create another div. And then I'm going to create use feature user ID is optional to cover image, and inside brackets image component say source fetch user ID dot cover image, and fill out with cover image style is equals to object fit dot cover. So that's styling. Then I'm going to style this div with absolute minus bottom 16. Can you see just below, and then left 4. Then again to add an avatar user ID is equals to user ID. So if I come back and on loading this page, let me is large and there's border. Okay, so you can see that we after styling putting it minus 16 and there's got a border and there's large. There you can see that that's where you are going to have a positioning of the user profile image, like we were styling it. So if I change user, you can now see that we using user hero, they can now see that I've got an image there. So that is the position of our image after all the styling. Now let me close all the files. This was it just for our part 2 video. So make sure that you follow my playlist so that you can watch the next following video where we complete this project of building a Twitter clone. Thank you for watching.